Scenario analysis is used sometimes when things are quite complex. So we'll talk about when these are used and how the different ways people actually display the results. So scenario analysis is used when the problem is really complex and when some of the input variables are correlated, which means that some of them might move together. Like if prices are high, raw material costs might be high, and vice versa. If prices are low, raw material costs might be low, something like that. So an example, and it might be good economic conditions, base case scenario, or poor economic conditions. So these three kinds of ways that the world might be in the future would be different scenarios. Another example is reversal of climate change, business as usual, and extreme climate change. That might be ways of looking at the different scenarios into the future. And then because people use this quite a bit when it's a complex system. So one of the ways you do that is you define the scenarios with experts. So you would go along and talk to the experts and say, well, what do you think if things are going really well? What would the price be? What are the volume? What's the growth rate? Things like that. And if things are going poorly. If things are going really well, then what might those conditions be? The growth rate would be higher, the prices would be higher, those kinds of things. And then you run these scenarios, like in that Excel spreadsheet that we had looked at for the what-if analysis, and we indicate what is the net present value under each of these scenarios. So it shows a range of possible outcomes. It shows where the base case is, and then it also shows, well, how bad it might be and how good it might be. In this case, you can see there's kind of more of an upside than there is a downside, and that might be an indication of, there's just more possibility of things being better. That would be one of the ways to look at this. But it's one way to do analysis associated with another kind of sensitivity analysis. So in scenario analysis, we looked at when to use it and how to display the results.